Thank you, Deputy President. Colleagues, at the heart of the Albanese Labor government is a simple and unwavering belief that if you put in a fair day's work, you deserve a fair day's pay. That's the promise of this Labor government. It's a value that we hold close. Penalty rates are not a privilege or a bonus. They are recognition of the sacrifice made by workers who give up their weekends, give up their nights, their time with family, in order to serve our communities, in order to keep the wheels of the economy running. The pay and conditions of award-reliant workers are directly set by the Fair Work Commission. In other words, these workers, and they are a huge number, 1 in 5 of all 15 million taxpayers are these workers, it's 2.6 million Australians. They feel the direct impact of the decisions made by the Fair Work Commission directly. The modern awards, together with the national employment standards and the national minimum wages, provide a critical safety net for workers, setting the floor, not a ceiling, for a fair, relevant and enforceable minimum terms and conditions of employment. So, we spend our time basically at home and at work, and the Fair Work Commission sets these minimum standards up. They are a floor, the minimum required to protect workers. And these standards encompass your working conditions: flexible work, casual employment, maximum hours, leave entitlements and working conditions, and so on. Penalty rates put food on the table. They help a young student pay rent. They help cleaners and transport workers function and maintain a quality of life. These are the people who keep Australia ticking over at times when most of us are with our loved ones. And I just want to recall an anecdote, and I've never forgotten this. It was during the 22 campaign, and I called into a town in Tasmania, and I spoke to a single mother. And I spoke to her about her penalty rates and asked her what these meant to her. She was a hospitality worker. She was so dependent on these rates that she said to me, "Michelle, I actually can't speak to you about this. I've got to go into another room." Why did she have to go into another room? Because she didn't want to have this conversation in front of her children. That's how important penalty rates meant to her. And I've never forgotten that story. And it's with that single mother in mind that I speak. So not only are these people award-reliant workers, but they're also some of the most vulnerable. 60% of these are women. The average age of these workers is 34. About 40% are under the age of 25. So in other words, they're overwhelmingly young people. 70% work part-time. And notably, nearly 60% of all low-paid workers are award-reliant, meaning they're on this award, the minimum award. So to cut these rates is not just an attack on pay packets, it's an attack on fairness itself. What kind of country do we want going into the future? We have to ask ourselves that we want a fair country. We do not want to have a working underclass, a working poor, as happens in other countries. So this bill will ensure that penalty and overtime rates are protected and remain an enduring part of the modern awards safety net. The protection is crucial for workers who rely on these rates for financial security. The bill ensures that specified penalty and overtime rates in modern awards cannot be reduced, and the bill addresses loopholes that allowed employers to roll up penalty and overtime rates into a single pay rate, undermining workers' actual compensation. We do also know what happened when the Coalition were in government. In 2017, they actually cut penalty rates to a whole swathe of workers in retail, hospitality, pharmacists and fast food. And the Labor Party stood with those workers and opposed that change. So did other members in this parliament. Unfortunately, we didn't win the 2019 election, and so we couldn't. It was difficult to change course. But with the help of the unions and the voices of those workers, we're now back, and we are determined to protect the working rights and the pay of these ordinary Australians who do the work at times when the rest of us are with our families. Let's be clear, protecting penalty rates is not just a matter of justice, it is a matter of economic good sense. Every dollar earned in penalty rates is a dollar spent in local communities. It circulates through small businesses, it supports regional communities, and it strengthens the very fabric of our nation. And this is what Labor stands for: dignity at work, fair reward for effort, and a recognition that our economy must serve the people and not the other way around. Protecting penalty rates is about protecting the Australian way of life, a way of life built on fairness, opportunity, and respect for those who keep our nation running, often at the hardest hours. As a Labor government, we will always stand shoulder to shoulder with working Australians. We will protect their penalty rates because we understand what it means, and we don't want to go back to the bad old days where arbitrary judgments were made and penalty rates were cut, putting these vulnerable Australians at risk. The Albanese government, of course, has done a power of work to secure the wages of working Australians. And in moving this bill today, it really does feed into and complement the other work we've done with respect to banning wage secrecy, banning labour hire, and backing in consecutive increases to the minimum wage, which has seen now real wages rise for 7 consecutive quarters, despite us also navigating this country through a nasty inflationary and cost of living crisis. So we are here for working Australians. We are here to protect our most vulnerable workers, our most essential workers as well, from future erosion of their pay. I commend this bill to the Senate.
Thank you, Senator Ananda.